What's good, Osiris here? Got Middle Maga Spice 76. I got distracted while I was just going live. People are doing the 9/11 stuff again, and I've never dug down that rabbit hole. And I wish I had more time to dig into some of this stuff. I don't know how much that will pay off for me, but I have one topic for today, and then I might do a members because I want to do a working session. I still haven't had a chance to break down the Brianna Wu Tim Pool Culture Wars episode that was epic. And I gotta take some time to break that down and clip it up and kind of fact check it, but I don't like that term, but find out my retorts. There was a lot of good discussion on there. And I want to dig, I want to break that one down. So I'm going to do this one topic here on the governor doubling down. Let me say hello to everybody here. Oh, man, we coming in with the 9/11 stuff. I can't comment on it. I've seen a lot of the stuff maybe people have seen, but I don't know. I'm not knowledgeable enough. NEO says Bush did it. Now, YouTube, you can interpret that however you want. It's very general. Bush did it. I don't know what that means. I think I know what that means, but we don't know what that means when it comes to that banhammer. Neo, thank you for stopping by. Ray Studios, what's good? The homie Ray Studios, Roger Wood, good evening. Oh my God, TNT Cycles BDX was like, Brianna was a psychopath. I want to find out. It was fascinating. It was fascinating. I got to get to it. I don't know, maybe I'll do it. It'll be boring though. I mean, what I'm saying is like the research or whatever I would do, I would just do it on video. So I don't know. But let me get to the topic I do have, and then we'll kind of figure out where I go from there. They doubled down. And when I say they, I'm going to tell you why I said they. Because this is, again, on the topic of the Second Amendment being suspended in the state of New Mexico. It is suspended in the whole state, in my opinion, because the edict was for the whole state. It doesn't apply to the whole state, but only because they put arbitrary public health gun statistic measures or crime statistic measures on it. So only the areas where those statistics apply is where the Second Amendment is now suspended. Ted Lieu commented on this. And the reason why I'm going to say they when I talk about this is because what we're seeing is governors we are all in a class, for example, and governors like Whitmer, Newsom, Hochul, what they're doing is they're all fighting each other to brown nose the teacher. And the teacher, principal, the whole structure is the Democratic Party machine, the corporation of the Democratic Party. So they're all trying to stick their noses in the assholes of the Democratic Party machine. Because the more brown you get on your nose, the further your career goes. These people do not believe what they're saying. The governor of New Mexico does not believe one word that it comes out of her mouth. She's doing what she needs to do to climb the corporate ladder. That's the power of the machine controlling everything. And that's why I say they. Because to me, it's not her. She's not doing this for her. She's doing it for them. For her personal career, but the actual action is for them. Ted Lieu is one of the biggest brown nosers out there, but he's in the federal Congress, different than a governor. These governors are trying to outdo each other. That's why you saw why didn't we have as much of a pushback when New York, I believe New York passed that First Amendment. I've been covering so many stories. I don't even remember if that bill passed or not. I think it passed. Let me look. Go through this, then I'll look that up because I'm not going to be smooth on that. Let's just start here with what I have prepared. Ted Lieu talked about this yesterday. He's to the constitutional side of Michael Knowles. Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire disagrees with Ted Lieu on this statement, believe it or not. Tomorrow, I can't wait to hear how Michael Knowles is going to explain his way out of this. I can't wait to hear it. So it's good. I mean, he got ratio to I've been ratio before. I don't give a damn about a ratio. Is my take right or not? I've changed my take before. Like, yeah, that was cringe. Force the vote. I said, nah, don't force the. Where was I? I was against force the vote. And then I switched. I'm not going to get into why. That's so old now. And then there's other ones where I got ratioed where I didn't change my mind at all. There was that pedo account. There was it looked like a pedo-friendly account that said something. It did something like, we want to add this pedo label to the LGBTQ flag. And then Elon Musk banned the person. And I was like, what did they get banned for? I don't support what they're about, but did they post pictures or something? Like, what did they do? And then my take was, well, that's the problem. We need to know what happened. I got ratioed on that because people were like, oh, they called me a pedo. I was like, wow. Okay, have your take. But I didn't backtrack on that. We did not see that account break any laws or even come close to it. It was a terrible take, but what's that? So Ted Lieu, Michael Knowles will explain that tomorrow. Ray's a big fan. I'm a big fan of everybody on the Daily Wire. So I did come pretty hard at him. I was like, delete your account. His take was so bad, I was like, delete your account. But let's go back to Ted Lieu. We'll deal with the Michael Knowles after we hear what he says tomorrow. Ted Lieu says, I support in regards to, again, New Mexico's governor orders suspension. They're wording this stuff. It should be worded if it's under my control. That's why I try to do my own website where I do my own wording. New Mexico's governor suspends the Second Amendment in the state of New Mexico. I mean, that's double wordage, but you know what I mean. And specifically Albuquerque and Bernalillo is where it was done. In reply to that, Ted Lieu said, I support gun safety laws. However, this order from the governor of New Mexico violates the U.S. Constitution. No state in the union can suspend the federal Constitution under any circumstance. There is no edict, there's no order, there's no possibility. I don't care if the aliens are outside the window right now and they're invading the country, the Constitution is not to be suspended. Now, they might do all these, there's a whole bunch of wartime acts and all that kind of crazy stuff. It's all unconstitutional. So it's up to us. We are the ones that are letting them get away with this nonsense. Shouldn't be happening. There is no such thing as a state public health emergency or any other exception to the U.S. Constitution. And we've talked about that. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham comes over the top of Ted Lieu. I'm surprised by this. But when you think about it, they're trying to brown nose each other. There can be some tension. We're like, ooh, teacher, I'm going to ban free speech. Ooh, teacher, I'm going to take away kids from parents if they don't affirm their gender. And I'm a bald black woman too, so you really have to listen to what I have to say. Ooh, teacher, Governor Lujan Grisham, I'm going to suspend the Second Amendment. Isn't that what you all want? And so I shouldn't be surprised. Hey, Ted, conceal and open carry are state laws that I have jurisdiction over. What? If you're really interested, and we have in a way, that's the problem of not having a consistent originalist take of the Constitution. You break off of that with anything. You break off of that and let the state license and do all this other stuff. Oh, now my argument is I can do this. I can ban selling them. It says keep and bear arms. It doesn't say I can't ban selling them. You see, you get into this weird, like, oh, teacher. And somebody's trying to find a loophole within the Constitution when it shouldn't be. We don't need any scholarship. We don't need any constitutional history classes. They wrote it for you and I. They wrote it for somebody who never even finished high school to understand. And then she goes on with her lame jab at them. If you're really interested in helping curb gun violence, I'd welcome you to join our next police academy class. I could have done without that. Wasn't funny, wasn't good, cringe. So it really came down to Ted, conceal and open carry are state laws that I have jurisdiction over. No, you don't. So I replied to that. The kind of the feedback on it was very. Oh man, wait till you see this post from the Libertarian Party. Man, I love their energy. They are right up on that line. That's where I want to live. And they didn't. To me, they didn't cross it, but they were right up on the line. Let me just go to that one. That post was crazy. Libertarian Party, New Hampshire, and then this one is from the Mises, the straight up Libertarian Party account. So they've got, I think that's J6, isn't it? And it's all it says is the government must fear its people. Have I shared my screen? Let me make sure. That tweet was, man, the Libertarian Party, man, they be getting right up on the line. I love it, man. I love it. I love it. That makes you think, doesn't it? They didn't condone anything. They just, we gonna go to the gulags, aren't we? We headed to the gulags, man. We are so there. We are right there. They're getting close to it. You see, FBI, CIA, they all watching this. Every single day I say, wait, did you retweet? Yeah, I did retweet that. Did you retweet that tweet from the Libertarian? Let me make sure which account. Mises Caucus? Oh, it was LP Mises. Sorry, it was not the main. They got so many of these accounts. It was the Mises Caucus tweeting it. The government must fear its people, and I believe that's J6 where they were hiding under the chairs. And it's not funny. It's just poignant. They're not missing their words. Like, that's not a ha 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 meme. That's we're making a statement meme. That was a really strong reply there. We're seeing the Libertarian Party account. Libertarian Party of New Hampshire has gone really good. I don't know if Michael Malice is on that, or I don't think he is, but I don't know who's running it, but they are doing some stuff. Josie the Redheaded Libertarian, I'm going to give you my reply in a second. Josie the Redheaded Libertarian said, there is no addendum in the Constitution that gives any governor or legislator the authority to abridge our natural rights, demon. We have to make that clear too. Mike Cernovich says this tweet is disinformation, and because it was transmitted online, is a RICO violation under the theory being used to prosecute Trump. Really good tweet in one sentence. I struggle with doing the one sentence tweets. Those are the best tweets. Powerful statement. That's how AOC used to be great at that. I don't know what happened to her. They have lost all of the squad has just lost their mojo online, but it's all kind of going to the populist. They're not real populist, so that's the problem they're having. So then I replied to it. Let me see if I can find that real quick. The Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And went on to say, this amendment protects the right of individuals to keep and bear arms. Any state regulations or laws they enact must not infringe upon the rights protected by the Second Amendment or any of the amendments. I'm really focused on the Bill of Rights. If state actions violate this right, they can be challenged in court and potentially, I got to proof they should be challenged in court and potentially be deemed unconstitutional. It's too soft. Should be challenged in court, so they are deemed unconstitutional. This is a cut and dry case, so they can be deemed unconstitutional. Not only do we understand why it's a cut and dry case, there's no definition of what an emergency is. There's no definition of what temporary is. There's no definition of which rights the governor could take and eliminate. So the governor could say, the country's in national debt of, what is our national debt? 50 trillion? TNT said I was salty tonight. I wasn't even trying to be salty tonight, but I guess the salt must flow. What I don't know, what are we at? 30 trillion, whatever our debt is. They could name it over anything. I saw an ant outside. The governor of New Jersey, the governor of Michigan, Whitmer, Governor Whitmer could go outside and say, I see an ant outside. And because of that, I'm declaring a national emergency. And because of that, I'm limiting free speech. What's the difference? You might think that sounds like madness, but there's no checks and balances to this. So it could be madness. It's pretty simple. It's unconstitutional. So it shouldn't be happening. I'm going to end this story with a white pill, though, a little bit of a white pill from the people in New Mexico rising up peacefully. But that's not enough. That's not enough. This is going to be challenged in the courts. Probably tomorrow you're going to see filings and injunction, state, whatever's going to be done. That's not enough. Because the devil is in the process. What's happening with the Michigan 16, the alternate group of electors? What's happening with J6ers? What's happening with the 19 indicted from Georgia? They're all using resources to defend against ridiculous claims. Hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars. So we are in this battle where half the battle is, I banned it for a weekend. Maybe I couldn't enforce it, but I stretched the Overton window. And the courts are going to say I can't do it. She already admitted that. Nah, I'm out. I don't have to do it anymore. I'm out. Okay, I'm sorry. There's nothing to stop the next day to say, I see an ant outside. I'm suspending the First Amendment. Nothing stopping the governor from doing that. Or saying, you know what? I'm still doing the order anyway. You tell me. Think this through. If they go through the court system and whichever level of court says, nah, this is madness, it's unconstitutional, the order must be relinquished or stopped. I don't even know what they would say. And then the governor, Michelle Grisham, says, nah, I don't agree with it. The order stays. Who stops it? Now, she might not be able to enforce it, but she could still have the order in place. And you know about selective prosecution going on in our country? She said it in the press conference. I can't, there's too many criminals. I can't arrest all of them. So she could still, even if it went to the Supreme Court on Monday and the Supreme Court said, you, Porky the Pig, you are way out of line. This is unconstitutional. I don't even know. What would they say? The order must be stopped. I don't know the legal term there. I have to look it up. The order must be stopped. Say the Supreme Court rules in one day. No. Unanimous. 9-0. Wrap. None. Done. Unconstitutional. Stupid. What is to stop the governor from saying, I don't care? It's still in place. There's nothing. If the sheriffs aren't going to arrest her, if the people aren't going to impeach her, if the DOJ isn't going to investigate, there is nothing that will happen. She will keep it in place, and she could fire or she could make moves in the executive branch of New Mexico to really have it in place, knowing that I can use it against my political enemies. You know those people who might rise up and say, I'm going to open carry even though you have this edict in place? Go and get them. The Supreme Court has no way of enforcing their rulings. That's why they didn't take Texas, Pennsylvania. They knew it was a trap. They were like, they knew the election craziness, madness. There's no way we can take this case. Look what's happening with the John Eastman stuff. I need to research on that too. I've seen a little bit on that. Crazy stuff coming out there on 2020 again. A lot of it we already knew, but to see it in the courtroom, crazy. So we can't take this case because everybody's going to see that the election's not trustworthy. And we have no enforcement arm. And this is just coming off of the summer of love, the riots. So that's why they didn't take the case, in my opinion. So nothing's to stop her from, she could put it back in place, and there's nothing to stop her if she's in bed with Biden and the DOJ, they're not going to investigate. And if the people in the state aren't going to rise up peacefully, but somebody does need to go in, put her in handcuffs. If they're not going to do that, then what happens? Play that out. Nothing happens. Same thing could happen with Joe Biden when the Supreme Court. Joe Biden could have still went forward with the OSHA vaccine mandate. He could have still went forward with it. There's nothing that anybody could have done. You could have sued again. Maybe you would have won, but he could still keep it in place. The Supreme Court can't stop him unless you impeach him. So my point is, she has to face impeachment and or criminal charges. Otherwise, there's nothing stopping her from doing it again or deterring other governors from doing the same thing. The DOJ has to investigate this. They're not going to. I understand that. But if we need to look at that and analyze, where are we then? If the DOJ is not even going to, they could investigate and say, we'll just let it go. If they won't even investigate it, that's telling. This is obviously needs to be investigated. That should be an objective opinion. Even Ted Lieu thinks it's see, that's what I want. I want somebody to follow up with Ted Lieu, David Hogg. It should be investigated then, right? If it's so cut and dry, you don't even need, you just say it's cut and dry, it's stupid, it's unconstitutional. Then you agree the DOJ should investigate, right? So Joseph Bassett, and I like being tested because it forces me to flesh out my thoughts. So I made a strong statement saying that she should be arrested. Really what that means is investigated. And what's to investigate? We see what happened. There doesn't need to be much of an investigation, so I'm just jumping ahead to handcuffs. Joseph Bassett provided a critique respectfully on my comment here and said, you began well and reasonable. I'm not trying to, my goal is not to be reasonable, just to be clear. It's to be lawful. It's to be accurate. I don't know what reasonable means. You begin well and reasonable, but nosedived at the end. Oh, it took a nosedive when consequences needed to happen. Before we even go into this, obviously we need consequences. Otherwise, people will just violate your rights and say, the Supreme Court will just say no. Just use your common sense. Of course there has to be a consequence. If there's no consequence, then that's what happened. That's why we're here. The pandemic happened. All of it, executive order from the federal level to the state level to the county to the mayors, zero consequence. So now, fast forward to 2023, the Second Amendment suspended in the whole state in the United States. Never been done before. Because there was no consequences. That's why. If the executives were, at least one of them, I think all of them, if they were put in handcuffs after the pandemic, this wouldn't be happening right now. And then Joseph goes on to say, enacting policy isn't criminal. Who said that? Okay. I didn't say enacting policy was criminal. If you go up to my statement, this must be challenged because of the unconstitutionality. So if you enact policy that's unconstitutional, that's when the problems happen, not just in general. And it shouldn't be an impeachable offense. Now, that doesn't make any sense. That's up to New Mexico. But I can still say it, though. I don't have a say in that. I don't live in New Mexico, but that's up to New Mexico and their House. They're blue. They're not going to impeach. That's not the point. My point is what should be happening. And it shouldn't be an impeachable offense. Anything can be an impeachable offense. I'll have to look at New Mexico's process, but pretty much every federal, state, it's a political process. It's not a criminal process, impeachment. So you can impeach somebody because they look funny. You absolutely could, even if it's bad policy. Laws and policies are sometimes later found to be unconstitutional. Impeachment isn't appropriate here. Voting is. I would say that's appropriate too. But impeachment is more urgent. It's more immediate. So I replied, I said, if a governor's actions are deemed to infringe upon an individual's constitutional rights, they can and should face charges under federal civil rights laws. There is, when you look at Title 18, Section 242, it makes a crime, this is federal now, makes it a crime for any person acting under the color of law. See, I wish you could edit tweets because I really messed that up when I just said color of law, because the executive order isn't law. I'm going to get to that in a second. To willfully deprive a person of a right protected by the Constitution. And then I said, I stand by my statement. Governor Grisham should be investigated by the DOJ and imprisoned. This is, I'm going to read this, Title 8, Section 242. Whoever, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States, shall be fined. Shall, must, be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both, and if bodily injury results from the acts committed, then it goes on from there. So you see, that's it right there. So you know, at the minimum, fined and, I believe it said, yep, fined and or imprisoned not more than 1 year. Right there, cut and dry. Close the book, case closed. Put Grisham in handcuffs, wrap it up, and we move on. So I got more replies from that. Said, good luck prosecuting that. I said, so you agree it's pretty cut and dry. Said it would set a new precedent. The only reason it would set a new precedent is because we've never seen a governor suspend the Second Amendment in the whole state before in the history of this country since it's been ratified. So, of course, it's setting a new precedent because we've never seen this before. That's not a take. I haven't looked. I need to look at case to see, but Joseph Bassett replies, not at all. I wouldn't say it all applies to chiefs of state and policy making. If that were the case, the law could be used for any policy or law a prosecutor thought was a violation of civil rights. Yes, that's the point. That's the whole point of it. Yeah, that's the point. Now, as we know, prosecutors don't have to prosecute every single issue. What he's trying to say is, well, every law that's deemed unconstitutional, you could prosecute and investigate. Yes, your terms are acceptable. Yes. Investigating doesn't mean you need to charge. Everyone's a little bit different. This is blatant, though. You see, kind of straw manning it, taking it off of this case to like all cases. Nothing like this has ever happened before. So I said, of course, it can be used for any policy or law a prosecutor thought was a violation of the Constitution. That's the purpose of it. And then I'm not going to go back and forth with that too much, but this is the part that's important. Let me see if gosh, these things are so hard to find when you're in these threads. And that's why sometimes you'll see people quote tweet, because then it's also easier to find. And then notice this, I hate this about Twitter, it's in the more replies. So I don't know why they're hiding these replies that we're talking about. Like there's nothing, why are these hidden? I have to do show replies to find them. Like I can't even find some of these. Look at that, show replies on top of show replies. I'm literally digging in Twitter looking for our conversation. So I said, what you missed, here's what he said. I haven't seen where she has made an admission or stated intent to violate the Constitution. Intent does not matter. She didn't create law. She implemented an executive order. That doesn't matter. You see why now I'm upset. I didn't write my tweet properly when I said law. It should have said, I'll show you here. It should have said regulation. Has she committed a crime? Certainly not. Who said that? Of course she has. I just showed you the federal code. But do I think this whole thing presents a good legal question? You're in some. I think that person sounds like a book smart type person, and they don't. They're not living in reality. So I clarified in that quote I told you from the statute. It says under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom. They had to put all that in there because they knew, well, if you only put law in there, then it doesn't apply to an executive order. To hell it doesn't. A governor's executive order would fall under the category of regulation. So it does apply. Law. This is a system of rules created, enforced through social governance, statute, formal written enactment of legislative authority. That's not what happened. Ordinance, law passed by municipal government, like local city. Regulation. Regulations are rules or directives made and maintained by an authority. An executive order issued by a governor can be seen as a form of regulation. It is a form of regulation by definition because it's a directive from the executive branch of a state government. It's not legislation, which would be a statute, but it has the force of law behind it. So I've made my case. She should be brought out in handcuffs and taken away. She's doubling down on it. Why is she doubling down on it? Because she knows none of that's going to happen to her. Nobody's pressing any charges. Nobody's coming for her. None of that's happening. Yeah, Jay, let's look at these chats that got my attention here. J.R. Smat says, I really wish all libertarians and conservatives would go full MAGA or die. And it'd be rough at first, but we'd have the most peace we've ever witnessed. MAGA isn't Trump exclusively. It's bigger. I couldn't have said it any better. I have a sweater that literally says Libertarian. I think it says Libertarian Party. It's my sweater. I don't even know what's on it. I just wore it the other day. It just says Libertarian on it with the Libertarian Party symbol. I don't have my laptop with me. And on the top, in very small letters, it says MAGA. And the reason why I have that is for that comment, J.R. Smat. Yep, you can go to the store. I'm going to pick, why not? I'm going to show you the white pill that I was talking about, the peaceful protest in a second. But why not go to the middlemaga.com and then go to the store and show you what I'm talking about. I'm not trying to edit the website, so don't worry about that. So if you go to middlemaga.com and if you go up to the shop, it's going to open up the Teespring creator stuff. And let me show you. Oh, I forgot. I made a Merry MAGA Christmas shirt, and I think I'd put it in one video. But we're almost at Christmas again. I forgot I even had that. I don't even know what's in this because I don't have to keep inventory, obviously. MAGA, here it is right here. Let me make sure you can see it. MAGA Libertarian is because of that comment that you made right there. It's the Libertarian Party symbol, and I put MAGA on there. And you know what I love about that? Neither MAGA nor Libertarian Party was triggered by it when I posted it on Twitter. I didn't get one. I thought people would be like, damn, that's blasphemous or something like that. Nope. I didn't get one complaint about it. Maybe I'm just not that important, but I'll get feedback on other things, so. TNT Cycles PDX says, I'm so sick of all these executive orders under the guise of an emergency, and I'm completely out. I think executive orders are fine when you talk about the executive. Of course, you're the executive over your executive branch. So if Biden wants to mandate the vaccine for his branch, that's an interesting one too, though, because you still can't violate the Constitution. So I have to think that through, but it shouldn't apply to me. Like there should be no executive order where the governor of the state can say this, and that. You know, I understand sometimes there's riots and stuff and they'll say curfew. They really shouldn't be able to say that. Jordan Lott, yo, Dave freaking Smith, Libertarian Party, real animal, let's go. Yeah, we talk about the Libertarian Party. What's good, Jordan Lott? Taco says, I'm a libertarian, real liberal, and I'm kind of iffy on MAGA because I'm still very salty about Trump's bump stock ban. But you're right. This is the only way we can effectively save America. But I'm not voting for Trump, though. And I think, say, Jay Smatt was saying it's bigger than Trump. MAGA isn't Trump, from Jay Smatt, just the tweet, the comment I just read. So I don't blame you, Taka. I don't blame you. I think Trump was honestly just trying to do the right thing. Our country was in a much different place. He would never do, I fully believe he would never do that now. Our country's in a different place. But no, you don't have to support Trump to be MAGA. I openly tell people, maybe too many times, I'm not voting for Trump because of this, this, and this. And I've got tons of people who are with MAGA who disagree with that. I respect them. They respect me. It's not even a problem, because it's not like I'm dissing Trump in a way to diss the whole movement or be disrespectful to Trump either. When I call him fat and eating McDonald's, I'm just having fun with him. He was flipping burgers the other day. Just having fun with them, but I'm not trying to be disrespectful. So MAGA is just populism. That's all it means to me. So you don't even have to talk about Trump. You don't even have to believe in Trump, talk about Trump. MAGA exists long after Trump is gone. And MAGA and libertarians got to work together. And they have been. They actually have been working together. Blake Masters, remember, Blake Masters was in the race later on. I forgot the libertarian guy who was running in Arizona. They made deals. They're making deals all over the place to say, hey, if you run somebody who's good enough for the libertarian movement, then we won't run against them. So if it's like Carrie Lake, they're not, even though she's not a libertarian, the Libertarian Party, it wouldn't make any sense for them to try to take down Carrie Lake with somebody. And that's a point of contention, because I think people people get triggered when I bring up her name, Dr. Karlin Borisenko. I don't think she believes that. She's like, libertarians have to run. And I don't believe that. You don't hurt the Libertarian Party, because if you run against somebody like Carrie Lake, for example, even Blake Masters, then what you do is you turn people like Steve Bannon, Posebek, whoever, Charlie Kirk, you turn their ire on the Libertarian Party for no reason. If you do it for Mitch McConnell, you're good. Charlie Kirk, Posebek, Bannon, they're good with that, because Mitch McConnell is a uniparty. So you've got to decide when to how do you justify, because Libertarian Party can sway an election, kind of like Dr. Cornel West could potentially swing an election. There should be a libertarian movie. That'd be so dope. Yeah, that would be dope. You could have Daily Wire put it. I always bring up Daily Wire because they got a studio now, I think, in Tennessee. Do they? I don't know where it is. I don't know where they do this stuff, but they put up high quality movies. They're the only Daily Wire is not perfect, so I was going to say non-establishment, but is Daily Wire establishment to you? I don't know. I don't think they are. I would not call them establishment, but they're definitely corporate. But they're the only non-cabal. A lot of people would disagree with that, but I don't think they are. They're like, I'm trying to think if there's a politician they're like. I was going to say Chip Roy, but no, Chip Roy is better than that. I don't know how to describe them. I got to put together my thoughts on what Daily Wire is. Because they're not MSNBC. They're not Fox News. Matt Walsh is on there. Candace Owens is on there. They toe the line in a way, but not like Fox News. So I don't know how to articulate what Daily Wire is, but whatever they are, they would be who I would go to for that. I'm not aware of any other. There's that crowdsourcing. What's it? The group that did Sound of Freedom. You got people there. Hopefully Tim Cass can do his own studio stuff. I'm sure he wants to do that. He would be the perfect one, because he was really friendly with the Libertarian Party to do a movie. That would be dope. The movie would be the Mises Caucus takeover of they already did. It wasn't a movie, but they have good YouTube video on it. But they could kind of base it off of that footage they have. I would love a movie of Michael Heiss and Dave Smith and McCardle, and I'm gonna forget a lot of people, but Malice and everybody that I'm aware of and more, who are part of the Mises Caucus de-wokifying of the Libertarian Party. That would make a hell of a movie to me. Make it a little dramatic, maybe because stuff got heated. Remember that, Jordan? Stuff got heated, like hands were gonna fly. Remember those videos? I don't have them linked, so I gotta see if I could. But when Mises Caucus was making their move, everybody saw that they were taking over the party, and it was like hands were about to be free. I saw some of those videos that there was tension for real. I'll have to look it up to find them again. But it was intense. Let me see if this is hidden history. Oh, they got an upcoming one. Oh, wait, they're already doing stuff. The hidden history of the LPs. Let's look at this. The hidden history. So this is going to be going on tomorrow. This is scheduled for tomorrow. Mises Caucus only has 7,000 subscribers. Everybody subscribed to LP Mises Caucus on YouTube. Like, there's a lot of ways you can help out. You don't even have to always do money. Share a link. Share a link. Man, when people say that, that's not a joke. Like, sharing a link is huge. Share this. LP Mises, MISES Caucus, CAUCUS. LP Mises Caucus, and share that link on YouTube. Search that on YouTube. And it looks like they're doing like some type of documentary. They do have some type of stuff in there. And that's, the Mises Caucus is named off of Ludwig von Mises, well-known classic Austrian, economics type libertarian. So that would be a part of the breakdown if I was going to do it. Well, I am going to do it. It's just a matter of when. The celebration of the Libertarian Party. I'm going to see if I'm going to search, for lack of a better term. Fight has just begun. Let's look at this. Let's look at this here. Yeah, this is it. It probably saved where I was from like a year ago when I did this live. And the audio was bad on it. I haven't even listened back to that. I don't know if you remember that, Jordan Lott. I did a live on the Libertarian Party, and my audio was all messed up. And I had this video. This probably saved from me actually doing that live, and it saves it over whatever time frame. Let me go back to this a little bit. Let's start at the beginning here. Mises Caucus on the fly. The fight has just begun. Wait, Jordan, who's the presidential candidate? While I'm playing this, somebody tell me do we know? I mean, August is when you really find out. I'm out the loop because Dave Smith wasn't running, so I'm like, okay. So you hear the tension. They started off with the voices.
When you're faced with somebody who's got a clear conflict of interest, the guy who's running for office, who's running the credentialing, that's a clear conflict of interest, and you can't tell people they can't register. This is shady. Fuck you! Fuck you! Get out of here! Party member wants to vote.
Politics is dirty. That's what this comes down to.
My name is Michael Heiss. I am the founder and chair of the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus and Mises PAC.
Why did you start the Mises Caucus in the first place? What is the events leading up to that, or the reasoning within yourself that you thought, all right, this is something that I have to do?
It was just a collection of experience and observations over the course of several years. My involvement in libertarianism and the liberty movement, I'm a product of the Ron Paul revolution. And that experience was very high energy, very electric, very unifying, and very effective as well. And by the time 2015 came around, I was involved in the Libertarian Party.
Is that a young Michael Heiss? Wow. That was a young Michael Heiss there. But let me stop this to read the comment. TNT Cycles PDX says, I like the idea of libertarianism, but they infight so much. I can't take them seriously. That was one of my big takeaways after I did a live, I kind of did a working session where it wasn't really working. I was listening to the Revolutionary Black Network, RBN, reacting to Jimmy Dore versus Dr. Cornel West. Fascinating debate. Amazing debate. And in that debate, Nick from RBN, he's amazing. Now, I'm going to have strong disagreements with them, but I support them. They do a lot of great work. The only point of disagreement basically is on race, but there's a pretty big point of disagreement. But Nick was talking about it, and he said, I like this. This is a healthy. So it comes down to this, TNT Cycles, for me. Is it a healthy debate or is it not? Is it healthy tension or not? That's what it's about. I don't get into all the drama, but I will tell you this. In my Twitter profile, Comic Dave Smith describes, I put a little video, did a video, it's still up on this channel. I have no plans of changing my Twitter profile pinned post that's supporting Dave Smith for president, because it's the idea is what matters. And this is the video, I've played it before, but what you're going to see here in this video at the end of it is, to me, TNT Cycles, Comic Dave Smith, what you're seeing here, healthy tension. The tension that they had here was to root out. They needed to use the Libertarian Party as a vehicle to spread the ideas of liberty. The Libertarian Party is who cares, just like MAGA took over the Republican Party. Who cares about a Republican Party? I'm taking it over because there's only two parties. So if RFK wants to become president, he would have had to have run as MAGA. The Democrats don't play that, but the Republicans, you could kind of sneak in through there. So that it's healthy tension. Let's look at this here. See if I can. These are the only things that I saw from mainstream media about the Libertarian Party, and this is what made them a joke.
I would like to ask the body to consider that the Libertarian Party acquire a mascot. And I would like to propose Dobby from the Harry Potter series, who in the 7th book says, Dobby has no master. Dobby is a free elf, and Dobby has come to save Harry Potter and his friends. The perception is that they take liberty with the idea of liberty.
This always happens on these older videos with Twitter. Let me see if I can get it to move on. Because this video has been up for, what is it, over 2 years now. Wow. As you can see, that's me looking at my pudgy self. I'm still pudgy now, but a little pudgier self from 2 years ago.
They take liberty with the idea of liberty.
So it's still kind of buffering there, but I'm going to tell you my point here while I try to see if I can unbuffer it. That happens to all these old videos on Twitter. Very common. No play? Still no play. So I can just describe it for you. What it was detailing was that Comic Dave Smith came in and had to root out. And as you can tell, and I'm going to play the rest of this video here. As you can tell, it takes a lot to root out corruption. So that's good tension. And what's going to happen is corruption's going to try to come back as well. So
these are the only things that I saw. They take liberty with the idea.
Okay, so I was able to download it, so I'm just going to finish it, then talk about the tension.
Idea of liberty. Easy, bro. That's too much for me. Too much liberty all at once. But what I am seeing is this dude does have some political gravitas, some smart, some savviness.
He's cleansing that party of all that foolishness I showed you earlier.
I don't understand how, whatever your politics are, you can be on the side of people who can't handle Dave Smith if they're interested in handling the Republican Party and the Democratic Party.
The Andy Craig letter when he resigned was really something. I mean, he listed off every little position.
So he's talking about the people who were in charge before they became in charge. These people who were just comfortable at their desk. Maybe you've worked with people like that. Maybe you've been that way before too. I've been there. You're comfortable at your position and you're not really hungry. You see that in sports. You're going to get ran up out of there from somebody hungry. That's what happened. The Libertarian Party became woke. They found a way to just make their money and come to work every day. They weren't really fighting for anything. And these young Ron Paul revolutionary types, the Mises Caucus, they said, we're hungry. And maybe one day there's going to be a hungrier group and remove them. Who knows? But right now they're the hungry group and they're getting the old, complacent people who don't want to fight for anything up out of there. That's good tension.
Listed off every little position that he's had in the Libertarian Party. And he was like, I was the head of this committee. I worked on this campaign. I volunteered for this thing. I did this. I ran for this office and got the highest percentage of anybody who's ever lost for that office. And now I'm quitting. And it was this thing of like, yeah, like you see it, like you see the kind of entitlement. This is an illusion that someone sold you. And I'm sorry you bought into it, but that's not what I'm not working for any of these institutions. My commitment is like to human liberty. It's not to your steps.
And that's good tension. So what happens, TNT, is the Mises Caucus takes over. This is politics. The old guard wants back. You have to have tension. You have to have tension. There's no way not to. The old guard wants to take back the mantra, the vehicle that is the Libertarian Party. They want to get it back. Why do you think recently Mike Pence did that anti-populist speech? It was his version of the red sermon. Why? Donald Trump led the movement. MAGA took over the GOP. Mike Pence is the dinosaur politician who wants to take it back. So there's tension, and there's got to be healthy tension. Well, there's the tension between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. Believe it or not, I hated it. I hate it that it's going on. But it is healthy. What is happening is MAGA is gatekeeping the movement. What they're saying is you haven't earned your stripes. You haven't, to Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis thinks he can do. He has some great policy, did some great stuff in Florida. He doesn't understand what the movement's about. The movement is bigger than that. The movement is bigger than, it's about culture, and even it's bigger than just calling out wokeness. Donald Trump and the MAGA movement helped put you in office and you can't even acknowledge that. And then he had the listless vessels comment when it was not a bad comment, but the problem was you had never said anything good about MAGA. So nobody trusted you. So I think that tension is good. I know it's cringe at times and sometimes it gets into stupid areas, but overall, that's good tension. Mises Caucus went to the top of the hill and people are trying to knock them off, and they're going to have to swat them off like flies. So there's going to have to be tension. And I like Maj Touré. And he's been much better recently, from at least on Twitter. That's really where I follow him. And I went hard at Maj, and I'm surprised he didn't block me. I never had beef with him. Hopefully I was respectful. I came pretty hard at him. But he blocks people frequently, so I'm surprised he didn't block me. But maybe I'm not important enough or whatever. I think he's had a little bit of interaction with me. But my point is the tension there was to be like, Maj, I appreciate your work, but don't take that black identitarian politics over to this. That's not going to work for me. Whatever drop in the ocean, my opinion counts for, and I'll keep dropping in the ocean. And so that, to me, is healthy tension. I'm not against you. Don't bring that identitarian. That's poison. So you see what I'm saying, TNT? I think that's healthy. You take what it is. It's like bath, and someone takes a dump in the bath water. It's done. It's over. That's what that democratic black identitarianism does to any movement. That's why I like RBN, but I can't. They got to be an arm's length away from me because they on that race stuff. That's what they are. Number one, Jimmy Dore and them are close. I talked to Jimmy Dore, and I talked to I just told them I didn't have a conversation, but I talk about it that Jimmy Dore at one point, that RBN, they're gonna go at you. They're gonna go at you on race. It's gonna just like Nina Turner did. Jimmy Dore was cool with Nina Turner. They had beef over something. Nina Turner went straight to the race card. And I told Comic Dave Smith, you messing around with Maj Toure, if he keeps doing that black identitarian stuff, it's just a matter of time. He's going to turn on you. So there's going to have to be tension at times. And I think that's okay. Let me try to see if I can go back to again, for if you don't know the libertarian movement, I want to break these up because when I go back and listen to them, I think when you just play a clip, it just whatever. So he's the Steve Bannon of the libertarian movement, and I'm I think very highly of Steve Bannon. What is Aleppo? You know what it matters? You know what he's describing? Ron DeSantis. He's describing the Ron DeSantis campaign right here when he's talking about Gary Johnson. Listen to this. Passionate, unifying, that's Trump and MAGA. And he worked with, what is Aleppo? Gary Johnson was same type of campaign as Ron DeSantis. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry. I messed up my stuff here. Let me bring it back. I'm hearing it, but I don't think you guys are.
In the aftermath of the Gary Johnson campaign, I came around. I was involved in the Libertarian Party, supported Gary Johnson.
So this is it here. I'm showing it on the screen now.
And the experience of the Gary Johnson campaign as opposed to the Ron Paul revolution was just like a night and day experience. The Gary Johnson campaign was much more low energy, a lot less passion, a lot less resources, a lot less people knowing what they're doing. It was just missing the spirit that characterized the Ron Paul revolution. So
if I was Mises Caucus, I would have, Jordan Lott says, even Dr. Shiva, I sense tension. Shiva hates the CIA and intelligence agencies. Absolutely. I don't actually see enough tension from Donald Trump. I'm not feeling enough tension from him. The tension is all Ron DeSantis. He's even backed off of Hillary Clinton. And Joe Biden, he doesn't really have that much there. And he's not really that tension, the good tension shock to the system. I'm not feeling it. And Dr. Shiva does have that energy. He does have that tension. He came at Tim Pool. That made me a little uncomfortable because, I'm a big Tim Pool fan, and he just annihilated Tim Pool. Didn't really have much there other than Tim didn't invite him on the show. And I'm like, damn, I don't know if this is helping. So Dr. Shiva's just going ham on Tim Pool about Tim Pool didn't invite him on the show. And he probably is like, Tim won't do it, I guess. I don't know why Tim should have him on, but I'm in my head, I'm thinking this probably isn't going to help. So, let's just move along. But he has attention for Joe Rogan. I'm all there for even Tim Pool, even though I disagree with him on that. But I'm all for tension like that. Yeah, Dr. Shiva has a lot of tension for a lot of people.
In the aftermath of the Gary Johnson campaign, I started conceptualizing the idea of the Mises Caucus as a means of bringing the liberty movement and the Ron Paul revolution into the party to kind of get that spirit back.
Well, I've been friends with Michael Heiss since before the caucus was formed. He actually called me to tell me about the caucus, and I basically laughed at him and told him I don't really do the caucus thing.
These are people who don't have as big of a name as like Dave Smith and Robbie the Fire Bernstein and Michael Heiss, at least with me, but they do a lot of the, they did a lot of the, I don't know if he's involved now, don't know him other than just this video, but they do a lot of the work. You can go on the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus YouTube, and they put their discussions out there out in the open. They're doing a lot of work behind the scenes. There's not some cake. They are working their ass off.
I like to do my own thing and just work with everybody and don't want to be labeled as part of a group. And I guess it was in 2020, I was running for state representative, and I had a really good opportunity there to win a lot of votes in my district. It was very hard to get on the ballot with the pandemic and stuff, and the state party was basically MIA the whole time. Everything, they couldn't even get out a press release or a Facebook post about my campaign for me. And Michael Heiss and Jeff Douglas and all the people from the Mises Caucus came from all ends of the state to make sure I got on the ballot, came and worked the polls for me, sent me volunteers for phone banking.
These are patriots. It's not getting any type of large compensation here at all for this type of stuff. And they're fighting for liberty. These are the people doing the hard, like Michael Heiss and them, grassroots, activism, organization, really doing the real work of like how you fight to win back a country.
Every bit of volunteer and support I got from my campaign almost came from the Mises Caucus exclusively. And that wasn't because I was a caucus member or anything. That's because they were my friends and I was a good candidate.
I knew Mike, since I got involved in Monco in 2017.
So let me fast forward a little bit I want to get to the tension, like build up to the tension part.
This is number 4. We've already taken Nevada, we've already taken Kentucky, we've already taken New Hampshire, we've already taken West Virginia, we're about to take Delaware.
Well, Michael Heiss looked like the Joker. Like, I don't remember this part. He's in the car and it's dark and you see like maybe street lamps going through. This is like a scene from the Joker or something.
We were already 60% of the delegation last year, and our candidate this year is actually from California, has way deeper roots.
The opposition was there from literally day one. I mean, I had been on social media, I had been kind of kicking around the idea of the Mises Caucus and bringing the movement into the party and this kind of thing for months, but I hadn't actually like committed to it. And then the day that I made the Facebook group, literally hours later, the chair of the party at that time, Nick Sarwark, had said that the Mises Institute was the preferred think tank of Nazis. And when you've got that kind of thing coming from the chair of the national party, it kind of works its way down and sets the tone and sets the standard. So that's exactly what happened, and it just escalated from there. So now everybody that was supportive of the chair, or more broadly supportive of the kind of vision that that chair had, which is, I would say, still characterizes the majority of leadership today, has kind of taken that tone.
Not anymore. Since this video, they've taken over.
And protected people that take that tone with us.
I mean, what, in your opinion, is that, like, where is that coming from? What's the
At that point, I don't actually think that we, the caucus, were the inspiration. We are now, because we've become a real force inside the party. But that chair, Nicholas Sarwark, he had expressly said that his goal was to take the party to the left.
He was a corporate, same, just like a Democrat, basically. Dave Smith debated him and destroyed him.
And the Mises Institute, Ron Paul, Judge Knapp, all these guys that are associated with the Mises too in that sphere of libertarianism. Most of them are more personally conservative, more personally traditional, and all that kind of thing. So I think it was an effort of Sarwark to kind of cement the deal and start cutting off the party from the more right-oriented or conservative-oriented libertarians as a part of this move.
This is the same thing I think the Libertarian Party should do to MAGA. So MAGA came in and did this to the Republican Party. Those are the debate clips I always play, everybody plays, where Trump gets on the stage. That's why I was very heated that Trump didn't go to this debate. He's not the right candidate. You've got to have populist MAGA representation on there. Vivek is great, that he's not that. So you get out the way, you have Kerry Lake or somebody else up on that stage. I don't know who else it would be. It would be Kerry Lake for me. But so the Republican Party got taken over by MAGA. The Libertarian Party can go in under the MAGA umbrella. So you can be a libertarian, full-blown libertarian. You're just going to put on a MAGA mask and infiltrate MAGA. That's what I think libertarians have to do.
To take the party to the left as the identity politics and the woke politics and all that stuff started to rise in the country.
I don't follow a lot of what goes on nationally, and it seemed like Raj runs for city council, Michael Heiss.
And you basically disrespect two of them and then just pick the one that you want. And it was also politically motivated. I mean, they'll never admit it.
So here's the tension, I believe.
That's sort of become a catch-all term for things that are good.
Myself credentialed, but then I started getting reports from Mises members saying that they just were not being allowed to credential. And I'm like, what do you...
So they knew the Mises Caucus was crawling. I'm going to wrap this up here, but they knew the Mises Caucus was coming. So they were playing little tricks and games to try to stop them from taking it over.
The debacle at credentialing this morning. I thoroughly apologize for the dysfunction this morning. However, with the unusual size of our convention this year, it proved to be more challenging than anticipated. So I appreciate your patience. I apologize for my own shortcomings. But look around you right now. The reason for the debacle was that we have the most well-attended convention in the history of our state.
It was the most well-attended convention because of the Mises Caucus energy.
So give yourselves a hand.
The fact that a candidate running for Eastern Vice Chair was involved in the credentialing process and had the major say in all things that were happening with credentialing, that's really fishy to me. You know, whether it was malfeasance or whether it was just an oversight, I would say.
Kind of like Arizona, you have the Secretary of State in charge of the election where she's running for governor. Same type of thing, same type of conflict of interest.
That a person of true morals and principles would exclude themselves from being involved in that just because of the conflict of interest.
Point of order! According to our bylaws, you have to be a registered libertarian unless prohibited by law in order to be a voting member. The credentialing committee has been turning away people who are registered libertarians. I would like to see the count updated to include all registered libertarians.
I was not registered as a Republican or a Democrat. I went out of my way to register as a libertarian this time.
So the bylaw states that you have to be a paid, dues-paying member of the LPPA.
Correct.
And that you have to be a registered libertarian.
Correct.
Okay, so people are signing up in front of the credentialing committee and providing proof that they are a registered libertarian. There's no details in there that says we have to use such and such system. They are using the state website to show that they registered libertarian, and they're being turned away. You're turning away registered libertarians.
You register people to vote. This is the document that matters, not some clerk that puts your information into a computer. It doesn't get more real than this.
Matthew, please. Matt, stop.
So it's hard to understand, but just to show you the tension, that's the old guard concerned about the new guard taking over.
If you can register in any political party and change the following day, that's the way it works. This is my paperwork. I drove 3 hours to be here. I paid money for a hotel. I'm a dues-paying member. I have put thousands of hours of volunteer time into the Libertarian Party nationally and state, and I would appreciate my
Let her vote! 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 Let her vote!
Order. Karen Harlow.
Mr. Chair, there's a pending point of order.
So you can see what happened there. That was tough to see. She drove 3 hours, does volunteer work. They were trying to turn her down from voting on the resolution there, but it all worked out in the end. That was before they took over. That was just a side mission. Trump would lose his release bond if he debated on stage with Pence. He legally can't talk to him. For me, I don't want to hear any of that. Donald Trump should not be acknowledging any of that. It should be going straight to the Supreme Court, or I'm not adhering to it. What are they going to do? Are they going to roll up in Mar-a-Lago? Is the Secret Service going to turn on Trump and turn him in? If that's the case, then all of this is for naught. If that's what they would do, we need to find that out right now. And it's easy for me to say, but I didn't force Donald Trump to run for president. I didn't force him to get into all this. This is the situation he's in now. And for me, my take is you don't abide by it's technically not a gag order, but you don't abide by all these unconstitutional First Amendment. I'm running for president. I can't legally talk to Pence. Get out of here. If you need to come at me, come get me. That's what I need. He needs to have that type of energy to figure out what's going on here. And that should force it quicker. Whatever we need to do, it needs to be popped like a pimple. And just let that bad boy pop. If it's ready to pop, let it pop. Go ahead and pop it. Don't let that white head just hang there. That's what we're kind of doing right now. I can't tell Trump what to do. He's a grown-ass man, and it's easy for me to say, but that is what I think is the right thing to do. Taco says no one was going to take the old LP seriously. And they weren't. They kind of existed not to be taken for seriously. It was almost like a club, like a political club that had no purpose, no power, no desire for power, just desire for people to use it as a club. If I was an outsider and saw a fat dude dancing naked on stage and a dude wearing a boot on his head, I think I'd be scared off. Mises did the right thing, absolutely. And not that they do, like I showed you that tweet earlier from Mises Caucus. They do shocking culture jammer stuff, which is right, but not like taking off your shirt looking like Sasha Obama, needing to tighten up. That dude was beyond tighten up. But that was one of the most infamous moments from the Mises Caucus. That moment right there, that moment I played with the guy taking his shirt off, that was kind of like the climax of the stupidity, and it was all uphill from after that. So it's a good story. I didn't show the update from New Mexico. Let me see if I can find that real quick. New Mexico I don't know if I would call it a protest. They just openly see what we call it. I'm trying to figure out if I have the right. Okay, here it is. In Albuquerque, New Mexico today. Let me share my screen. In Albuquerque, New Mexico today, citizens took a first step against their tyrannical governor by holding a protest, exercising their right to bear arms and not complying with her illegal order. Keep a close eye. This week will be interesting.
Crime is riddled, and all we want to do is protect our families, our friends, our communities. I've gone on 2 combat tours with the Marine Corps and fought on the front lines. I've done 11 trips as an independent contractor. She thinks she has the right to take away my freedom to protect my community. I don't think so. This will not stand. We will not comply. Look what the U.S. government did to the Native Americans. They try to strip them of their rights. This is the same thing. Our Apache brothers who resisted to the very end. Navajos, we gotta be the same. Resilient.
I need to keep an eye on my stuff. I tell you that I was trafficked for 13 years and the law doesn't protect us. I'm an indigenous person. That's why my kid is here. The law doesn't protect us. And nobody asks the government. The government does not like indigenous people. We need to see the mother sterilizing our children, sterilizing our women. Right? We think that is okay. Oh, that's a trying to tell you now. No more! You're not going to step Say yes.
Yes.
Protest in the Capitol during COVID?
What's that?
Were you present at the protest in the Capitol during COVID?
Thomas Jefferson.
I wasn't at that one. No.
What's your name?
Daniel Montaño.
Daniel Montaño?
Declaration of Independence, something like that.
You see most of my
And
stuff
in that,
usually
he
on
said
KUNA.
that we
A lot of
have
my stuff.
unalienable God-given rights. Our rights come from God. Our privileges come from government. Don't get them confused. They're very different.
Here, on what side they
Okay?
represent.
Rights come from God. He also said we have the right to correct, alter, or abolish a tyrannical government.
So I wonder, just looking at that again, so that's just some of the taste of, and thank you for the reporting. That is from, make sure I credit who was on the street there, News Share.
Crime is riddled, and all we want to do.
Ford Fisher. Credits to the street reporters. Ford Fisher been everywhere. These street reporters, they're the real journalists. But this is good. This is probably, I'm wondering why Ted Lieu, even though it's obvious, and David Hogg as well, agreed that this was over the line. And I think it's because of this. I think this is why the police did not intervene or enforce the order. So the police released a statement, the sheriff released a statement, and it wasn't a strong statement. But if you read between the lines, I think the sheriff was trying to make a strong statement without making a strong statement. And that is, so the people went out, they open carried, and they showed the governor that we're in a dangerous place when you're enacting executive orders that you can't enforce, and no one's enforcing. So I just wonder, looking at it again now, if that's the reason Ted Lieu and others are saying they're brown nosers too. So they're competing with Grisham and saying, well, I want to brown nose better. How can they be brown nosing better? They might be brown nosing better by saying Biden and all the CIA, whatever behind this, her crossing the line is creating a problem that we won't be able to handle. It's actually adding fuel to Trump. It's adding fuel to, way more important than Trump, an uprising peacefully of people saying, wait a second, you're going to try to do this lockdown or this thing? Once you get that culture back of American spirit where it's like, you can't stop. I know what my rights are. My rights don't come from you. The Declaration of Independence talks about that. My rights come from God, and I have the right to defend myself. I'm not breaking any laws. I'm constitutionally protected, and we've got enough people to concentrate power. Come holler at me. And I think that's why Ted Lieu is not going to, some people were like, I'm waiting for Ted Lieu to reply. I don't think he's going to reply. He doesn't want to do a back and forth with Grisham. What he's saying is, you got over your skis and you're going to cause more problems. I'm on the record of saying the right thing to brown nose for the CIA or whoever else. You tried to brown nose too much, and now it's going to backfire. And Ted Lieu is kind of, that's who knows, but that's my speculation with that. So thanks. That's Taco says, I can be proud of my indigenous heritage and still be an American. Absolutely. My parents are from Jamaica. I was born in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, but I'm all for immigration the right way, becoming legal. And indigenous is not obviously immigration, but the country, what happened is the country got taken over, and that's what happens. And that was a long time ago. What do you want the country to be now? And I appreciate your stance on that, Taco, that absolutely. I've talked about this a million times. If you want to be whatever identity X, that's fine after we agree on Western culture. See, that's the tension that I would have with people I even like RBN. They don't like they don't like things presented as Western culture. The Declaration of Independence, Constitution. Not that they're necessarily against that. I'd have to parse out their feelings on it, but that's not vocabulary they use, in the channel. Because when they hear that, they think capitalism and they don't like capitalism. So Taco, once you have that, then we can celebrate your indigenous heritage and my Jamaican heritage and whatever else and heritage people have, then you can celebrate trans. I would still not celebrate it under LGBTQ flag, but whatever else you are after we agree on that. TNT Cycle says hyphenated Americans are ridiculous. Just one more thing to try and tear us apart. Yeah, we're all Americans. Yeah, I don't like the hyphenated. Yeah, I'm not for the black Americans or this Americans. We're just Americans. Let me be out. I'm going to be out. I'm going to probably do that. I don't even know if I'm in the mood to do the Brianna Wu thing now, but I'll probably chop up some videos to upload to the channel. Just do a little bit of work. I'm going to leave you out with comic Dave Smith. This is 3 minutes of you want to know what kind of solidified my definition of libertarianism? This is the speech right here. Thank you, everybody. Take care.
I became a libertarian about 11 years ago. I was a child of the Ron Paul movement. And like many people here, when I was introduced to these ideas, they changed my life. I immediately, like so many of you, when these ideas click with you, I was like, I'm going to be a soldier in the liberty movement for the rest of my life. And that's what I'm doing. And that's what I will continue to do. That's what I care about. I heard Nick recently, I was watching a video of his when he was doing a debate for the LP chairmanship. And he said, as the chair of the LP, the party is paramount. I don't look at things that way. I will tell you right now, I don't care about the Libertarian Party. I don't care about it at all. I don't care how many votes they get. I don't care how much fundraising they get. I definitely don't care if Nick's able to work out a $75 an hour deal from them, okay? That doesn't mean anything to me. I'm just saying what I care about. What's paramount to me is liberty. I care about the liberty movement. I care about the philosophy of libertarianism, the most beautiful, brilliant political philosophy ever devised by man. I care about actually seeing liberty in real people's lives. Now, just to be clear, I don't have to go off on this to you people, but the philosophy of libertarianism is the philosophy of peace. It's the philosophy of prosperity. And as I've come more and more to realize, it's the philosophy of civilization. I mean, what better describes civilized behavior than the non-aggression principle and respect for private property rights? It's what you would teach your 3-year-old as they go into the world. Don't hit other people and don't take their stuff. I know there's some of you guys who think I'm like a little bit too radical. Tell me what I'm wrong. What am I wrong about in what I just said? You think that Joseph Stalin and Adolf Hitler wouldn't look at what we have and go, God damn, they gave the Department of Education a SWAT team.
This is true.
These bastards are good. Okay? That is the moment we are living in right now. All right? And we, libertarians, have the philosophy that has the answers for pretty much every one of these problems. I mean, I'm not saying we can solve everything, but we pretty much know what to do with all of this stuff.
Facts.
Okay, so what do we want to do? You want to take a shot? You want to try to actually do something that might make a difference in this situation? Or do you want to sit around? You know, I watch these left libertarians debating age of consent laws. I watch the chairman of the LP using these despicable social justice warrior tactics against the people who spread liberty the most. And it's like, what do you guys want to do here? The nation, the greatest nation in mankind's history, is on a suicide mission. And we can try to save it. We can try to increase the liberty movement. We can try to bring more people on board.